Yes, guys, on whatever we have discussed yesterday, do you guys have any questions, clarifications which we discussed? I know it was like a very simple introduction what we had yesterday, but still, if you guys have anything, we can discuss. Okay, if nothing much, we can start with our session today. And like before I get things started, right? Like maybe Sidhu and Aishwarya, like Sidhu, I have shared you the installation details over mail last night. So, like if you have the installations done, it would be great. Like as we are going to have some of the other tasks on daily basis, like whatever we discuss in these sessions, like you guys can try it out on your own.
Sure, Pradeep. I'll ask Aishwarya to start the installation. Yeah, I'll guide her if required, and we'll reach out to you if we face any issues.
Sure, sure, yeah, that would be great. Okay, yeah, let me share my screen and let us go through today's session. And yeah, maybe before I start, have you guys gone through the list of topics and do you guys have anything to be added apart from whatever we have in that particular list? Guys, I want you guys to talk, at least say no, yes, something. Okay. Great. And Sidhu, I guess like you have a little more OMS knowledge than others. Like, do you have anything to be added, like other than that written flow?
I did not get a chance to look into it, Pradeep. And moreover, the mail which you sent me, I don't see that. Uh, I don't see the Excel document.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. Actually, I missed to share you the. Okay, I have not shared it with you. I have shared only the installation details with you. Okay, I would
Sure.
share that today. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So whatever we have discussed was kind of an introduction for the Sterling and supply chain or the order management and supply chain yesterday. So today we will do a couple more things to see maybe for the people who are very new to Sterling, like to see and understand how exactly a Sterling application console looks like and what all things we have as part of the Sterling application console. And we would also have one simple Java program, I mean like just a simple hello world Java program. And I would also show you guys how to have that installed. I mean like sorry, how can we have that particular Java program exported as a jar and how to have that particular jar installed and deployed in our order management system or Sterling OMS system. And along with these things, we have discussed about the participant setup or the organization hierarchy yesterday. So today we would see how exactly those things can be configured in Sterling. And I was also mentioning about something called as a reference implementation, which Sterling or IBM has already provided in the installation, whatever we have created. So I would take that as an example and I would show you guys how exactly it is implemented or how exactly it is configured within our system. So before going to our Sterling application console, Hello World program and other this particular create order API and all stuff, like I want to show you guys that particular participant setup, whatever we have discussed yesterday. So yesterday we were discussing about the participant setup, and within a participant setup we have these many different kind of roles, which is like hub is a parent organization, or I can say the main entity or the organization at the topmost level, and under that we can have multiple companies or multiple legal entities which we call them as enterprises, and under them we can have buyers and sellers. So buyer is somebody who buys from that particular organization, and seller is somebody who sells. So basically, even if you go to Amazon website today, Amazon is not the only one who sells their product. Like we I mean like not sells their product. Amazon is not only one who sells the product on their website. We have different third party vendors also who sells their product, and we have different organization who buys product from them. So all those third party vendors who want to sell on the Amazon platform, they would be configured as seller organizations in their implementation, and all the organizations which are buying from Amazon will be configured as buyers, and the same organization can be configured as buyer and seller along with configuring it as an enterprise. And the next one is the node. Node is nothing but the warehouse or the store, or it can be called as a distribution center. It can be anything like where the inventory is stored for a particular organization. Okay, so we are going to see all these particular things, how it is configured in Sterling, and how exactly it is what you call kept in an organization hierarchy. So in order to know all this, first of all, we should understand where to configure them in Sterling. So all the configurations, or all the in layman terms, if you want me to say, all the settings, all the what are all the settings you want to do. Like for example, for our phone, how it has to work, we have certain setting application which tells how the phone has to work. So the same way, for our Sterling application, we have something called as a configurator. So configurator is a place where we do all set sort of configurations in order to have certain implementation done, in order to have your order flow in certain pattern, or in order to have your business flow in certain pattern. We have something called as configurator, and that particular configurator can be launched as an Java applet screen using this particular option, Launch Applications Manager. So once you click on this particular Launch Applications Manager, you would see some screen opening something like this. So something like this you would see. This is called as Application Manager, or people call it as Configurator for IBM Sterling OMS. In this particular configurator, this is a place where we configure multiple things, like how an order should flow, what are all the modifications you can do on an order, what is the how exactly the inventory should flow, or how exactly the inventory can be maintained. So many things, like all the stuff whatever we are doing in Sterling order management system will be monitored or will be maintained or configured in this particular configurator. So the same way, right now whatever we are discussing is about the participant modeling. The participant modeling is nothing but the organization hierarchy which needs to be configured in order to have any organization onboarded onto Sterling order management system. So for that, we have to go to something called as application platform, and under application platform you have something called as participant modeling, and here you have something called as participant setup. So when we compare with our roles, whatever we have, the main role or the topmost role we have is the hub. So let us see what are all the hubs we have in our uh, implementation, or I can say the reference implementation which IBM has provided
Hello.
when we install. So I'll
Hello.
just select for hub, and I just
Hello, Noor.
give a blank search. And I can see there is only one hub organization,
Hello.
that
Yeah,
is
Noor.
the default.
Yeah,
That
sorry
is the
for direct
main
calling.
topmost
Yeah,
organization
so just
which
wanted
is
to check.
configured
Yeah,
as
Noor.
hub. So as we all know, under hub we can have multiple
Which
enterprises or
training?
multiple companies or legal entities, or it can be
ओके ठीक है
multiple
ठीक है तो आप
branches under
मुझे
one
कनेक्ट करो
particular
फिर जब आप
organization.
अवेलेबल हो
So
जाओगे
here hub is a
हम्म
default organization,
ओके
and when we go under hub, we can see there is an option as child organizations. So here, what we call that, like if there is any direct childs, you can have them configured here. or else you can see here it is configured as an hub as well as an enterprise. And under this particular hub, let us see what all things are present. So I'll just go back to other organizations. So when you just see one particular organization matrix, as I was mentioned, yeah, yes, sorry. Okay, not an issue. I'll just reiterate on whatever we are discussing. So, what I was telling right, Noor, I mean, like yesterday, whatever we have discussed is hub, enterprise, buyer, seller, and warehouse. So, we are going to see how these things can be configured in Sterling. So, in order to have them configured in Sterling, we have something called as a configurator. And to open that particular configurator, I guess you guys might have seen this screen after installing, and once you log in into Sterling application with admin password as credentials, you would see this particular screen. And here under configuration, you have something called as launch applications manager. And once you launch this particular application manager, you would see some screen like this. So this is how the screen looks like once you launch the application manager. And in order to configure any of these particular participants, you would have to go to application platform, and under application platform, you have something called as participant setup. So in any implementation, we can have the parent organization, that is hub, and under hub you can have any enterprise, and under enterprise you can have n number of enterprises, and under that you can have n number of sellers, buyers, stores, warehouses, and all stuff. So here we are going to see in our implementation how many hubs we have. We can see we have like only one hub, that is at the default level. And let us see how many enterprises we have. We can see these many enterprises we have. So I'm just opening one particular enterprise, and we can see that this particular enterprise is administered by the hub organization. Okay, this hub organization is nothing but the parent organization. Whatever we see, the default one, right? That is called as an hub organization. And when we see what are all the child organization for matrix, you can see we have matrix B, matrix R, and matrix WH1, matrix WH2. Let us see what are these. Okay, so when you see matrix R, it is an enterprise as well as a seller, and matrix B is also an enterprise as well as a seller, whereas matrix WH1 and matrix WH2 are node, that is nothing but warehouses. So basically, what is it? Matrix is an organization under which you have matrix B and matrix R are two different organizations, and matrix warehouse 1 and matrix warehouse 2 are the warehouses of matrix. And when I'm going under matrix business, let us see what all things we have. So we don't have any childs for matrix business. Let us see for matrix R. So when we see for matrix R, we have three stores. So how exactly it is configured is hub is the parent organization. Under hub you have matrix. Under matrix you have matrix R and matrix B. Sorry, matrix R and matrix B, and also matrix warehouse 1 and matrix warehouse 2. And under matrix B, we don't have anything. And under matrix R, we have matrix store 1, store 2, store 3. So in order to see this as a pictorial representation, like we have given this particular diagram to understand how exactly it is configured. When you see, this is a default or the hub, whatever we have seen, and under hub we have matrix, which is an enterprise or organization, and under that particular matrix we can see we have four, right? We can see we have, sorry, we can see we have four, that is matrix R, matrix B, warehouse 1, warehouse 2. So under matrix only two are enterprises, right, and the other two are warehouses. So if you see, this is an enterprise, this is an enterprise, and these two are warehouses directly linked to Matrix. And under Matrix retail, again we have three stores. And under Matrix business, we don't have anything. So any organization we go, like for example, yesterday we were discussing about Reliance. Let us assume Reliance is the parent company here, and under Reliance we have Reliance Digital, Reliance Trends. So Reliance is having two warehouses. So whenever anything is needed, they will send from this warehouse to these stores. And Matrix Business or Matrix Trends can also have stores, and they can send from Matrix warehouses to Matrix Trends warehouse or stores. So before we have any organization or any company onboarded onto Sterling OMS, we should have this particular organization hierarchy documented, and the same way it has to be configured in Sterling. Okay. In order to configure any new organization, it is very simple. You can directly go to participant setup, and here you can just click on this particular create. It will ask you what is the organization name, code, everything, and what is the parent organization. If you want to give that particular organization under something else, you can give it. And you want this organization as an enterprise, or if you want it as a seller, all those things you can give. And if you want the organization to be a fulfillment node, then you can give the node, whether it is a store or distribution center, all those things. Okay. Any doubts on this, guys, before I jump into the next topic, that is our Hello World Java program? Yeah, this is kind of an overview, I can say, for participant setup and how exactly we configure. If we have to go in detail, like maybe I can go for one particular organization. Let us take Matrix organization. So if I go tab by tab, like I'll just try to show you guys, like maybe we may get chance to go through this, but like however, as you have asked, I'll just go through tab by tab and see what is present, and let us discuss. So the first thing is the primary info, where you will just provide the contact address and the address of that particular organization. And the second thing is the roles and participant. So whenever we have this particular roles and participant, uh, that particular organization, whatever we configure, we have to decide whether it is an enterprise, whether it is a seller, buyer, carrier, or whether it is a node, hub, what it is. So we have to decide, and we have to configure that particular what do you call that role for that particular enterprise. And here we can see like anywhere if they are what you call linked to each other. Like for example, when you see this particular diagram, matrix is linked to all of these, right? Like for example, matrix is linked to matrix R is linked to these. So that is the reason why you are seeing all those participants here. So it's not that what you call that we have to configure something here. It comes automatically when you link some other place. It comes automatically. Okay. And that is that. And there is something called as print format preferences. So whenever we have any warehouse in for example in Agio, you place an order and you get something called as okay, you get a box to your home, and in that box you will have some invoice, right? So that particular invoice will be in some format. I mean, like left top you will have your address, right top you will have your company address. Under that you will have a box under in which you will have the item ID, how many quantity, what is the order total, and what is the discount you got, all those information. So there is a concept in Sterling. We can have this particular Sterling OMS integrated with any printing software. We have some software called as a Loftware. There is a what you call software called Loftware, which will help in designing the document, and you can print the document. And that particular Loftware will be integrated with printer. Okay, the same way Sterling has one more integration point called as Jasper Prints. So even it has an integration with Jasper Print, and whatever the format you want to print there for this particular organization, you can provide that particular what you call print document format here, and you can give how many number of copies and what is the label format you want to give. So this will be kind of a defaulted format for this organization. Any orders comes for this particular organization. If you want to print a return label or return order summary, then it will be for printed in this format. And by default, how many number of copies you want to print, you can configure here. So likewise for all the different print documents, you can have different formats. And like this is like the next thing on the cost factor that you want to use it for calculation, like physical, if it is a physical kit, if it is a landed cost, if it is standard cost. Like I have not seen people using this that much, but I have worked on one of the project where they have used this. So basically this is something like okay, if I have to tell about physical kit specifically, there are certain organizations who work on kitting. Like for example, you place an order for one system. uh, it is something like assembling the part. Monitor is one item, keyboard is one item, mouse is one item, CPU is one item. So whenever they place an order for one particular what do you call that item as a whole, I mean like they placed an order for a personal computer, you have to assemble all that. So for that particular thing, you have something called as a physical kit, bundle kit, logical kit. So there are different kind of things. So you just have to have some costing factors configured, and you can use that. But like yeah, I have not seen people using this that much. And coming to these advanced attributes, there are organizations for which inventory is available. There are organizations for which inventory is not available. And whenever you are having inventory information is available, the inventory information is present within the system. That is what we call that as part of our YFS inventory supply and YFS inventory demand table, we are going to have the inventory. And if you are not going to have the inventory within our system, you have to get it from the external system. Then we are going to have get external supply, get external inventory real time. So basically, whenever you are having this particular checkbox, we have to make a call to external system and get the inventory picture. And for that particular thing, you have to implement certain user exit and invoke the external system and get the what do you call that inventory picture and all stuff. And there are certain organizations where there will be no inventory information at all. Like for example, there is an implementation where the inventory is infinite. Like for example, you are working for an organization which deals with printing label, okay, or else for example, you have an organization which prints the billboard or which prints the ID card, invitation letter. So those kind of companies also uses OMS. For them, there is no certain inventory. It is make to order. Like for example, you place an order, then only they will start preparing your order. So there is no stock available. Like even Zomato, Swiggy also uses inventory information not available because it is make to order. And for example, it is a digital inventory. So you don't have to have stock for a digital inventory. Digital inventory is nothing but like for example, you have Kindle book. Kindle book is a digital book where you just have to share one copy of it to the customer. So in that situation, there is no point of using inventory. So those kind of customers will use this inventory information not available particular option. And coming to this catalog is nothing but if the organization defines its own catalog or it is going to define from the different organization. Like if I can use some other organization's catalog, that means that my organization doesn't have its catalog, so I'll just use someone else's catalog. Catalog is nothing but the list of items what I'm going to provide. As I was mentioning yesterday, when you enter into any shop or hotel, they will have a menu which provides or which tells the information about what all things they are selling. So the same way, organization should have a catalog. That particular catalog will tell you what are all the items they are selling. So the same way, if an organization have its own catalog, then you can use this. If not, you can have the catalog used by, sorry, you can use the catalog that is defined by somebody else. Okay, that is on catalog. And capacity also the same thing. Like if you are having your own capacity, you can use it, or if you are uh, going for a different organization capacity, you can use different organizations capacity. And the same way, customers. Like if you want to have your own customers, or if you want to have customers defined by external system, pricing is also same. If you want to have your own pricing or defined by external system, store config is also same. If you are going to have your own store configuration or if you want to define by someone else. Okay. So these are all the different configurations which we have under advanced attributes. And coming to communications, like maybe this I have never seen, but yeah, like this might be used for certain communications for this organization. But yeah, like we have never seen people using this. And yeah, coming to payment info. So what is the uh, payment information of this organization? Like for example, whether they are having any taxation done, whether they have any taxpayer ID. So basically, if you ask me, in India, we have something called as GSTIN number. So that particular information related to the organization. This particular payment information has nothing to do with whatever the payment the customer is going to do. So this payment information is just for the documentation purpose, where we will have the information of the organization to be stored. That's it. It has nothing to do with, for example, you place an order and you provide your payment information. That payment info has nothing to do with this payment info of an organization. Okay. And child organization, as we just now saw, like any organization which has configured as a chain. Like for example, here for Matrix, we can see these four things are configured as a chain. So the same thing we have seen here. And calendars. Calendars is basically at what all times that particular organizations is accepting the orders and what all times the organizations is not accepting the orders, I can say. Or else, like for example, when you go to a warehouse, so when I open a warehouse, Matrix Warehouse 1, we can have the calendar based on the business hours. I mean, like warehouse is something which will be operating 24 bar 7 in most of the places, but there are certain places where the warehouse will be working on the weekdays and they will have a holiday on some Saturday and Sunday, and even every single day they may have a work hours from morning 9 to evening 8 or 9. So you just have to define your business calendar. You can have this particular what you call that calendar configured here. And departments is just a list of departments what all this particular organization have, and based on the departments also, like there are certain segregations done. Like for example, if you have XYZ company, and in that company they deal with different products, like for example small size products, large, big, medium. So they can have a department for each of it, or they can have department based on the what do you call that type of product, or based on the color of product. So it's up to them. So this is the entire configuration of an organization that can be done in Sterling Automated System. So any doubts on this, guys, on all the things? Okay, that's great. So yeah, so that's pretty much on that, but on the organization, like whatever we have discussed or we are going to configure. So coming back to our next thing is on the Sterling application console. So as I was just mentioning, right, like you guys might have what you call installed Sterling. You might have seen the login page, that is the admin and password page, and once you log in, you would see some console like this or some web page like this, and this is called as the application console of Sterling. And in this particular application console, we can see there are multiple menu items, and each menu item has its own list of items. So when we see, like the first thing is the alert console. Alert console is nothing but like if there are any issues occurred during the order process, we have some alert management which can be done. So it would basically raise an alert, and that particular alert can be monitored by different people. Like we have some CSR team. CSR team is nothing but the customer service representative team, and that particular team will be monitoring these alerts, and they would try to resolve these alerts if there are any. Like for example, if there is any alert which is causing problem to an order, they will try to resolve that particular alert, and each kind of alert will be assigned to that particular group of people who takes care of those alerts. So we are going to see like alerts in one of our sessions, like how to have an alert raised, how to have the alert fixed, and how exactly this can be implemented in our implementation. Like for example, we are writing a Java code or we are creating a service for that, and if that particular service is failing for some reason, how that alert can be raised. And unless the alert is raised, that particular people or the support people or the how to say, call center people will not be knowing what issue happened to your particular order. So this is the alert console. And coming to this particular order menu item, we can see there are many. That is order console, shipment console, create order, create outbound shipment, service work order console, accept or reject transfer, service area search, route area. So these are all the different list of things which we have under order menu. So order console is something where you can see the list of orders which are placed in our Sterling order management system. And in order console also you can search the order based on different criteria. Like when I go to order console, you can see I can search with order number, I can search with buyer code, seller code, or if I have some line status from some XYZ status to XYZ status, I can select. Or if I have some payment status, if the payment is authorized, I want all the orders which are authorized, and I want all the orders which are open, recent, history. We have different criteria. And if I want the orders based on date, so you can see I can go to by date, and you can see here I have order date starting from so and so date to so and so date. Okay, so we can have the order date search like this as well. If you want the order to be searched by different item or something, you can choose. So it's up to us, like how we want to use our application console or order console search scheme. We can use that. And this outbound shipment console is nothing but the same way. For every order we create, there will be a shipment created. So whenever I place an order in Amazon or Flipkart or any e-commerce website, whatever is getting delivered to our home, it is not an order, it is a shipment. So that is why whenever they tell, right, they tell it as shipment shipped. Once it is delivered, they call it as order delivered. So what happens is, for example, you place an order for one pair of Nike shoes and one pair of Adidas shoes. Sometimes what happens, you get Adidas shoes today and Nike shoes may come after a day or two. So it's basically one order is split into two different shipments, and that particular shipment, one shipment is received today and one shipment received after 2 to 3 days. So you can search all those shipment with the shipment number. You can search with the order number. You can search. So here also you can have different kinds of search criteria here. So the same way, like we have, if you want to create an order. So basically in Sterling or in the real-time environment, we don't create the orders directly using the screen. Rather, we would use some XML data to create an order by invoking the different kinds of APIs which are provided by Sterling Order Management System. But Sterling Order Management System has also provided us an opportunity or kind of an functionality where you can create an order just by providing all the information what is needed to be created. So that is this, and also create outbound shipment. If you want to create a shipment, also you can create here. And there is something called as service work order console. So what is meant by an work order? Like I was mentioning about that physical kit. So physical kit is nothing but you have placed an order for a personal computer, and in order to assemble all your products internally, a work order will be created. Like for example, I have placed an order for personal computer. So once the order reaches the warehouse, they should be able to do some job to assemble my product. So in order to assemble the product, internally it will create something called as a work order. Okay, so here we have something called as service work order. So all those details you can see here, and we have something called as accept and reject transfers. So accept and reject transfers is nothing but anytime you are having how to say any transfers from one warehouse to other warehouse. So you can see we have two warehouses here, like that is warehouse one and warehouse two. If some inventory is available in warehouse one and it is not available in warehouse two, you can transfer from this warehouse to this warehouse. So to accept or reject those kind of transfers, they will use this particular application. And you can see it is telling only node users can perform these operations. So in order to perform that particular operation, you have to log in as a node user. So we can control permissions also based on the requirement. Okay. So that is on more or less on the order, and the same way for inventory also. For you have inventory console to see the inventory picture. Adjust inventory is nothing but like what is the sorry, in adjust inventory is nothing but like if you want to increase or reduce the inventory for a particular item in a particular warehouse, you can use. And capacity console is nothing but what is the capacity that particular warehouse can hold. So there is a complete different topic on capacity management in Sterling. So that is on it. And yeah, you can see here we can have something called as create work order and work order console. So this is more or less whatever we have discussed just some time back, that in order to assemble something or in order to do some job internal to warehouse, they do create these work orders and create corporate count request. So this might be kind of an out of topic, but still, as we are like into this particular topic, I just want to share this. So whenever you go to any store or any big shopping mall or whatever it, what we do basically, we just walk through all the lanes and we just like some XYZ product, we see it, but on the way back to our billing counter, we would not like that product and we would just place it somewhere else and we just walk out of the store. In this scenario, what happens is when that particular store person or the shopkeeper, he goes to that particular lane and see that the inventory is less, but the information what we has in his system is different. I mean, like in his system, it is showing as 100 quantity, but he goes to that particular shelf and see there are only 80 quantity. The 20 quantity which is missing, people like us, we are just placing it in different lanes and all. So to avoid this particular scenario or situation, in order to have the inventory sync between the system and the physical inventory, there is a concept called as cycle count. So this particular cycle count is nothing but there will be a counting done on the physical inventory once in every 1 month, 2 months or 3 months based upon the requirement of the client. They use this concept of cycle count. So this cycle count is nothing but they would raise a request and the physical inventory will be counted physically by the people, and that particular count is registered back into the system so that the physical inventory and the inventory which is in system will be in sync. So this is majorly kind of an warehouse activity which is done in the warehouse. And supply is basically whatever we are getting into the warehouse. Anything which is coming into the warehouse is called as supply. So that is where you can see all we have is inbound order console, inbound shipment console. And if you want to create an inbound order, if you want to create an inbound shipment, you can use these options. So what is meant by inbound and what is meant by outbound? Anything which is coming into the warehouse is called as inbound. Anything which is going out of the warehouse is called as outbound. So when we see the order, we can see it as outbound shipment console or create outbound shipment. So what does that mean? You place an order and you get a shipment to your home that is going out of the warehouse. So basically the inventory in the warehouse is going down. So that is called as an outbound. And when the inventory in the warehouse is going down, you have to fill the inventory. So for filling the inventory back, manufacturer or the dealership owner would send the inventory back to the system, so that is, or the warehouse, that is called as inbound. So all those things you can configure here. And this logistics is like very rarely used, I can say, and but it is basically used to what do you call that, how to track your load. I mean, like whenever you are going for one particular load from one destination to other destination or from one warehouse to other warehouse, you can use this particular load. There is something called as LTL and TL or different kinds of concepts under logistics. So like at least like I have not seen people using this that much. And under reverse logistics, it is more or less whatever you have under order, it will be the same thing for reverse logistics. But all these, whatever we are seeing here, is for return order flow. So whatever you are seeing here is for the outbound order, that is sales order. So whenever we place an order, that is called as a sales order. And whenever we get something, or whenever we place a return, that is called as a return order. So whatever you see here in the sales order, you see the more or less the same thing, but it in a reverse way. For example, you see return console here, you see order console. You see outbound shipment console. Here you see return shipment console. So that is on that. And business intelligence, like there is some reporting tool which is available within Sterling OMS. Like you need to have certain configuration done for that, and once you do that particular configuration, you can have the reports launched, and that particular reports can be seen here. But whatever the implementations we have seen so far, none of them were using this particular reporting tool which is provided by Sterling OMS, but because it is very limited to the options or the requirements what is used by the client. So basically, we have a certain business applications which are used in our day-to-day life. And configuration, as we just now discussed, this is about the application manager which we basically use. And this create template and template console is like there was some old concept called as a template order. For example, there is a customer who want to place an order for 30 quantity of XYZ item every single month or every single week. He just want to create the repetitive order basically. So anyone want to do a repetitive order, what we do is we create a template order and we give that template order to them, and they can do a small modification like a kind of an address change or anything. So basically anything which is a repetitive thing, you can have that particular template created, and we can give the template to them, and they can what we call use that template for creating multiple orders or repetitive orders for every month, week, or bi-weekly or whatever they want. And under system, we have two things. One is launch system management. So I'm just launching it. I'll just show you what it is. And the second thing is exception console. So the same way, whatever we have mentioned earlier, under alert console, we have something called as exception console. Exception console is majorly used for places where we have an server involved. Like for example, there is an integration server which talks to different system. Like for example, external system is sending a message to us, and we are consuming that message. And whenever we are consuming that message and we are processing that message, there is a failure in that message. So then it would create an exception. And as we spoke earlier, the same way here also we can have different exceptions created, and those exceptions can be what you call reprocessed or fixed, or it can be anything. Like here you can see there is an exception for one particular order creation or whatever it is. What you can do, you can let it load. So this is how the exception looks like. So based on this particular input order XML, the exception is raised as invalid fulfillment type value passed on the order line. So basically what it is saying, on the order line level there is an invalid value. So we have to just check what is the invalid value in this particular XML. You can just modify that particular value, and you can just reprocess that particular exception. With this, what happens is any message which is sent from the external system, we can make sure that particular message is processed without any failure. Like even though if it is there any exception or something, it creates an exception here. You can check what is the exception created. You can do the required modification, and you can do a reprocess for that particular exception. And the next thing is that launch system management, which I have, the minute I clicked on launch system management, you guys can see there is some screen like this which got opened. And this screen is basically helps in understanding like what is the memory usage, or what is the different kinds of agents or integration servers I have, different kinds of API groups, and if there is any usage and if it is going beyond the threshold, it just basically kind of monitoring tool I can say. So basically here it will show us what is the health of each and every component within our Sterling order management system. And we do have some option here to clear the cache. So clear cache is nothing but like which helps in clearing the cache of the entire application. So yeah, that's pretty much on the Sterling console application. And to add one more point, for example, you don't want to give access to all these particular options for certain users. For example, there is a user who works only on alert console. Then we don't have to provide access to all these particular options for that user. You can control that as part of certain configurations. There is some configuration called as uh, users and user groups. So there we can define which users can access what. So if I want to have only alert console, I can give access only to alert console. If I want to give for three, four menu options, I can give control to that particular menu options only. And if I want to give only read-only access, I can give. If I want to give access only to what you call access to process, I mean like we can enable the required permissions for that particular user. Yeah, that's pretty much on the application console overview. Any doubts on whatever we have discussed so far? Shall I take that as a no? I see. Okay. So coming to the next thing, like as of now, we have covered the introduction part and the application console, and going forward, we would see more in detail on what is Sterling and all. So first thing, as a simple task, first of all, before we jump on to any other task, we should understand how to write a simple Java program and how to have that particular simple Java program installed or deployed into our Sterling Order Management Console. So for that, maybe I want you guys to have the Sterling installation done and have an IDE. It can be Eclipse or it can be IntelliJ or it can be any other IDE which you guys are familiar with, and have it ready so that like you can going forward, like every single day we are going to have some or the other code. Like for example, we are going to create a dynamic condition, or we are going to write some service user exit implementation, or we are going to have some task queue non-task queue based transactions payment implementation. So all those things I'm going to what you call that show you like by writing Java code, like whatever the implementations we have, like we are going to have the Java code written so that you guys can have the Java code written and have it deployed. So here for the first step, we are writing a simple Hello World Java program, and this particular Hello World Java program, we can see it is just printing some hi, and it is just creating a document with a message welcome to OMS. So this is a simple Java program which we have written. Okay, and once you write your simple Java program, like what we have to do is we have to export it as an jar file. So you just export, you can click on jar, or else like you just have to type jar here, so it would just give these options, and you can just select the jar file, and you can name your jar file whatever you want. Like you can place the jar file anywhere you want, and you can name your jar whatever you want, and you can just click on finish. And it will, like as I already have one jar file, it is just asking me to overwrite. So once I export that particular jar file, I know that my Java code is present in that particular jar file. And anytime you are exporting it as a jar file, we know that it gets compiled to dot class file. Okay. So now if I go to my C custom jar, we can see there is some custom OMS APR jar. Okay. So this is a jar file. You can see it is generated just today. And now the next step is how to have this particular jar installed in our Sterling Order Management System. So for that, as part of our what do you call that, Active Guide site, we have provided a step-by-step procedure which you guys can follow. So there is I would provide this particular link as part of today's mail. So this is what we call the blog where you guys can follow. So what we are doing here, as like it is shown, we have to create a new what you call that project called, like whatever the name you want to give, you can give the project name, and as part of that particular project you can have your own package created, and under the package you have to create a simple Java program called as hello world.java, and that particular hello world.java can be something like this. And once you create all that, as we meant, as I just shown, you have to extract a jar file. And once the jar file is extracted, let us see what is the next step. So you can see it is clearly mentioned what are all the steps you guys have to follow. And once the jar file is extracted, we know that that particular jar file is extracted and it is ready. There is a step called as install third party.cmd. So when you see our C directory, wherever we have installed Sterling under COMS, there is something called as bin. In this particular bin, we have install third party.cmd. So this particular install third party.cmd will help us in installing any third party jar files. Okay. So when you see, this is the command, what it is saying, install third party.cmd, and for that we are providing multiple arguments. Let us see what all the arguments it is accepting. The first thing is custom jar. So it is basically what you want to how to say, like install, under which particular folder you want to install. So when you see, you have OMS, and under that you have jar, and under jar there is a folder called as custom jar. So you can see under that particular jar, custom jar folder, I want to install. And under custom jar, as I have already installed long ago, I can see there is a folder called as one. So whatever version I am giving here, it comes and create it as a folder here. You can give whatever you want here. Instead of one, you can give like OMS or hello world or whatever you want. And hyphen j is nothing but Java, and this is the place where your what you call that jar file is present. So my jar file is present under C custom jar. Here my jar file is present, so I would just provide that particular path here. And hyphen target JVM is nothing but every. So what is meant by this every is nothing but all the places, like you can even provide here just agent or just app, or what you call both. So basically, when you give every, it would just get what you call installed or appended in all the configuration files. Like we have configuration files like app dynamic.cm config file, agent dynamic config file. So basically, to make it more clear, any Java project we run, okay, any Java project we run, as we all know, there is something called as a build path. So what is meant by a Java build path? Java build path is a place where you mention all your Java jar files which you want to use as part of that particular project. So the same way for Sterling OMS, there is something called as agent dynamic class path, agent app dynamic class path. Likewise, there are different how to say the configuration files. So let me show you those. Repository. It's not under, where was that? Is, let's be- Just give me a moment, guys. It was under. So you can see there is something called as dynamic class path.cfg, and the same way you will have something called as agent dynamic class path, app dynamic class path. So like for example, let me open one of the class path file. You can see these are all the different jars which Sterling is using. And even in your system you will have this file. You can go there and see these are all the whatever the path you are seeing here. COMS jar, what is the path? This path is nothing but wherever we have installed Sterling. So whenever you are installing Sterling, it will create a jar folder, and under that jar folder, you have all these jars. So basically, this particular app dynamic class path or agent dynamic class path is something which helps in understanding what are all the jar files which are used for that particular project. So the same way, if you want only app, you can give only app. If you want only agent, you can give only agent. If you want both, you can give every. So whenever I give every, it gets added in app dynamic, agent dynamic, and there is one more called as dynamic class path. So yeah. So now you can see the minute I run this simple command install thirdparty.cmd, the custom jar folder, my version -j and my path to that particular jar file -target jvm and every, the minute I run this command, I can see my custom apr.jar is added in all these places. Okay, so this is how we have to install our Sterling, what you call that third party jar. And once you install the Sterling third party jar, it is as simple as you just have to do a build and deployment once again. And once the build and deployment is done, we have to test this. Okay, so I guess like build and deployment, you guys might have already did as part of the installation steps. We have this build and deployment already. So I'm just skipping that. So you just have to do the installation, and after installation, you have to do the build and deployment. And after build and deployment, the next thing is you have to test it. So in order to test it, what we have to do is, so again we have to come to our application manager, and under application manager we have application platform, and there is something called as process modeling, and you can go to order fulfillment. I know guys, like this is a little confusing. You just follow these steps, because going forward I'm going to explain you guys what is meant by process modeling, what is meant by order fulfillment, document type, process type. All those things we are going to talk slowly, but for just testing the hello world program, I want you guys to just follow the steps. So the steps would be, just come to this particular configurator, go to applications, application platform, process modeling, order fulfillment, and under here there is something called as services. You can select any of these, or you can directly select at the top, plus create a new service, whatever we want. Let us create as Hello World 2024. Okay, and I can give my group name anything. I can just give test 2024 and in a synchronous mode. All these things we are going to discuss, guys, don't worry. So here, like once the service is created, we are having something called as components. There is some component called as API. So when we add these connections, we get something like this. Standard API is something which is provided by Sterling itself. So you will have all the list of APIs. We just have to go to extended API, and in the extended API we would just provide the what to call that particular path of my Java code. So I'll just give the package dot my class name. Okay, and what is the method name you want? Sorry, class name should go here. API name can be anything. I'm just giving it as hello world, and method name is nothing but whatever the method you have. Method name is print. So you just have to save it, and once you save it, you just have to select the same thing again and refresh. Now we can see there is test 2024 and this is a service. So now my service is created. So all I have to do is I just have to go and invoke this service and see what is happening. Okay, so for invoking the services, there is something called as API tester. So this is the API tester. So if you want to test any API or if you want to test any service, this is an what we call that servlet screen which is provided by IBM Sterling itself. Once you install Sterling, you should be able to access this particular API tester. And as part of this API tester, I would just all if you want to directly invoke any API which is out of the box API, it's already provided in the list, but whatever we are configuring here, it is a service. So in order to invoke any service, you just have to provide the service name here, and you have to select whether it is a service or not. So yes, it is a service, and I would just provide my name. Okay, let me see what is a jar it is installed in my local. Just a minute. In order to show you guys, it is custom OMS 94. It might not be this. Anyway, just let us see if it works or not. So I'm just using admin password is password. So I just want to test it. So in order to test, you can just give some random input and you just click on test API now. So this test API now should go and invoke my Java code, whatever I have written. And in this particular Java code, what I am doing, I am creating a document and setting an attribute called as message and what you call stamping the message as welcome to OMS. And we can see whatever we are passing. We are passing input as test. And on that particular test, we are stamping message as attribute and whatever the message you want to stamp, you can write it here. So this is how any Java code which is written, it can be extracted as a jar. It has to be installed, and once the installation done, it has to be deployed. And once you deploy that particular service, you can create a service and you can directly use that service as part of our API tester. Any doubts, guys?
Pradeep, I have not done deployment. So can
Yeah,
you show that?
sure, sure. Maybe like we can stay back in this call and I can show you the deployment part.
Okay.
Pradeep, I am not able to log into the UI. Like I'm not getting that UI login page.
Yeah, sure, Abhishek. Maybe you can also stay back in the call.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
continue. Oh, anyone else have anything else? Okay, yeah. So that's all I have for today, guys. So today, what I'll do, I will just send an email out on what all discussed. So basically, how to have this particular Hello World, and I would also share you the link to this particular first Java program. And yeah, that's all I have for the day. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. And Pawan and Abhishek, you guys can stay back and we can discuss on your things, whatever you have. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, Pawan, you can share your screen.
Can you give me some time? I have joined through my mobile because there's a network issue.
Okay, sure, sure. Maybe Abhishek, you can.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Abhishek, I can see your screen. Yeah.
So I'm trying. I'm getting this.
Okay, is your server started? Can you open your WebLogic console? Okay, go to C folder,
Okay.
C Oracle,
Okay.
middleware, Oracle Home, user projects, which is the third one, yeah, domains, OMS94. There is something called a start WebLogic. Just double click on that second one. Yeah. So whenever we want to access our application, right? Like first thing what we have to do is we have to start our WebLogic application server, and we have to see whether the deployment is done or not. If the deployment is already done, you just have to restart your WebLogic server and you can start accessing your application. If the deployment is not done, you have to do the deployment and you can access your application. So have you done the deployment part, Abhishek?
Yes, yes, Pradeep.
And Sterling application, we will not be able to access in the uh, Chrome browser. We
Should
have
be
to access it through Edge or not even Edge. Basically, you
Internet
have
Explorer.
to Internet Explorer, and that too you have to if, like as we don't have Internet Explorer in the latest Windows, so you can use Edge and you can reload as Internet Explorer IE browser.
Okay.
It's taking so much time to maybe Abhishek, your CPU usage might have gone high again. It's like what do you call that? The logic is taking a lot of time.
I think it is done.
No, it should show you running.
కాల్ కాల్లో ఉన్నా
Yeah.
పండుకుంది.
So whenever the WebLogic server started, right, like there will be some running mode. There will be a,
అయిపోయింది.
you can see the running mode, right?
Yeah.
So now the WebLogic server is started.
Okay.
Maybe you can check or else you can show me whether the deployment is done. Like you can open the WebLogic console.
Okay. I will like.
You can have it in Chrome. You can go to Chrome. Yeah, just refresh this page. Arisha, is this your WebLogic port.
I I'm not sure where to check that.
Okay, actually for port, it will not be able to, I guess. That would be 7001 only. No, looks like it is not. It should be. Okay, let me see how to. While creating the. Okay, can you go to that command prompt? Like, is there any error there or still in running mode only? Okay, it is through. Closing the socket, configure ID, time download, closing the socket, request, record through. Close. Yeah, looks like your port is 7001 only. Okay, can you just ping me that particular error? I'm not sure if this is the reason why the WebLogic console is not opening. Maybe just maybe just still there. You can share me in this what you call it, meeting chat or right side down. You have right side down. Right side down. Okay. I can just put the message there and just try to see. It has not copied. You have to mark it. Chat GPT. Can you just go to the Chrome browser? Is it still the same?